A year or two ago, I found a newspaper and it had my great-great-grandmother's obituary in it. And on the same page as her obituary, I found this article. The headline says, "Girls gain 186 pounds at camp." And applicants selected for younger girls camp at Buell. 45 girls have gained 186 pounds in 19 days at the McCluskey Memorial Health Camp at Buell, according to Miss Orr Chapman. What a mind-blowing headline. They were excited because they had found a way to get girls to gain weight. 45 girls had collectively gained 186 pounds at a special health camp, and they were already screening for new people for the next health camp because this one had been such a huge success. Clearly, things were different then. For example, take a look at this ad from 1933. New discovery adds solid, healthy flesh quicker than beer. You can see the girl on the right saying, "I'm so lonely and unhappy, nobody likes a skinny girl." And the girl on the left says, "There's no need to be skinny now, I'll tell you a quick way to gain." The girl on the left is what people wanted to look like. The girl on the right is what no one wanted to look like. Honestly, the girl on the right is what most models in magazines and newspapers look like today. This next picture is interesting. This is a Miss America pageant in 1921 held in Atlantic City. You may ask yourself why they're dressed funny the way they are, and that's because this is the swimsuit competition. The challenge then was to get calories into people and to help them gain weight. Let's have a look at the fellas. This is a football game from the 1920s. It looks like just a group of guys. None of them's too heavy, none of them's too fat, none of them's too muscular, just a regular looking bunch of guys. This was the pro football team. No one on the field was anywhere near 300 pounds. There's probably no one who's even 250. You might have a guy who's 220. People were just smaller, people were skinnier. When did this stop being the case? Fast forward, here's a picture from Woodstock, 1969. I didn't cherry pick this one, I just took the first picture that came up. This is what people used to look like. Everybody had a six-pack. Nobody was carrying belly fat, at least not at this age range. These guys all look pretty healthy. Then the government got involved in giving dietary advice. And we'll take a look at how well they did. This is the food pyramid. And it's what the government has been pushing, or variations on this, for quite a while, where grain is intended to be the main source of calories for most people. So since America adopted this diet, how have they done? Has this been a successful experiment? So what does the scorecard look like? Let's have a look at this graph. This is from 1991 to 2011. And in this 20-year period, the top dark line shows the average weight in America. It went from 160 up to 176. That's interesting by itself, but the lower line is even more interesting because that's what people thought they should weigh. So in 1991, the average weight was 161, but people thought they should weigh 149. In 2011, the average weight was 178, but people thought they should weigh 159. If you compare the desired weight of 1991 to the actual weight of 2011, they're almost 30 pounds apart. Think about the Woodstock pictures from a few minutes ago. Even though we acknowledge that's a healthy weight, nobody really expects that. No one thinks of that as a realistic weight. Everyone has gotten heavier. Here's a graph showing a trend that's even worse, actually. It's life expectancy. And what do you notice about it? Look up in the top right corner. Despite all of the medical advances, despite the government helping us understand nutrition, despite there never having been more nutritional experts on the planet than there are right now, life expectancy is coming down, and the obesity epidemic is on the rise. As anyone will tell you, if you want to lose weight, it's really pretty simple. You just need to burn more energy than you consume. Well, that's simple, but it's not terribly helpful. So for example, if you want to be rich like Bill Gates, how do you do it? Well, you spend less money than you make. That's absolutely true, but it's absolutely unhelpful because it doesn't address how or why. Studies show that we're burning similar numbers of calories. Why are we eating more than we used to? People didn't used to count calories. They just eat until they didn't feel like eating, and that was it. And they looked like the people in the Woodstock picture. So what? So what do you do? First, we need to realize that we're not living in the same world that our ancestors lived in. 100 years ago, people were struggling just to put on weight. We don't have that problem now. Americans don't have a very good track record when following their government's dietary recommendations. And it's not because they're not following them. If you look at eating patterns, they're trending toward the food pyramid. I'll give some specifics about what I do in an upcoming video. We're kind of out of time in this one. But for my thinking, most diets approach things backwards. They look at, what do we remove? What do I stop eating? Do I cut carbohydrates? Do I cut sugar? I think a much more productive way is to start with a clean slate or an empty plate and figure out, what does a human need in order to be optimally healthy? I've been researching different diets for several years, and there's a lot of overlap and commonality between them, and I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Click subscribe, because then you'll be notified when the next video comes out on this topic. Stay tuned, more to follow.